Hello everyone, welcome, Dom here, and in this video I'm going to give you 10 super useful, extremely powerful, but very well hidden Cubase tips that you should know and you probably don't know about. Let's check them out. One of the things that I really like to do is I like to talk to music producers, I like to talk to Cubase users and figure out things that even seasoned Cubase users don't really know about or forget that they exist or they don't really use them, and make a list. And once in a while I like to make these videos to tell you all about these tips. So I'm going to start with the first tip today, and the first tip is something that I've been an evangelist about for a long time, and this is about how to create chords in Cubase. And I'm literally so tired of seeing still in 2024 producers out there talking about how do you create chords in this XDAW or how do you create chords in this DAW, and it's all so complicated, and I can't believe that this is still a thing where creating chords in Cubase is literally one click away. This is not the tip though, but I have a very cool tip for you. Let's open my key editor here, and now, as you know, if you've been watching my videos, if you want to create chords inside Cubase, you don't do what everybody else does. Everybody else out there does this. So what do? They just go here, they grab the pencil tool. Okay, C, let's go for a minor chord. Let's go for, okay, and then let's go for G, okay. And that's what most people do, right? No, in Cubase, if you've been watching my videos, you know that you don't need to do all this. No, delete. What you can do is you can go to your inspector right here, go to your chord editing panel, and then you can grab any one of these chord types, let's say minor 7th chord, okay? I'm clicking on this, and then I go here, and then I just hit C here, and I have a C minor 7th chord with extensions. In one click, okay? But did you know that if you do exactly the same thing, so let's say I'm going to select a minor 7th chord and I'm going to create a C minor 7th chord right here. And now I hold the Alt or Option key on the Mac and I'm going to drag my mouse cursor up and down. Check what happens. You can change the chord type like this. Let's go one octave higher and do a D minor 7th. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold Option and move my mouse cursor up and down. It cannot get any easier to create chords inside Cubase. This qualifies for a boom moment. The second tip I want to show you today is all about organization and having a little bit of visual appeal when you're working with third-party plugins inside Cubase. For example, right here, as you can see, I have this drum kit. This is my Modern 80s Drum Kit Max that was just released in December. And if you want to check it out, I'm going to link the video here. You can also pick it up, and this way you're supporting the channel. As you can see, when I go here, you will see that Halion Sonic, in my case, has this nice icon that portrays my Modern 80s Kit Max. This goes for pretty much every internal Cubase Steinberg plugin. Let's go to our media here, and I'm going to go to my VST-FX. You will see that if we go to Steinberg, all the Steinberg plugins have nice icons. So if I want to drag and drop this Poltec style EQ on my Modern 80s kit, I can just drag it, drop it, and this will be added on my channel straight away. If I go, for example, to another developer, let's go to one of my favorite developers, Baby Audio, for example, you will see that the plugins don't have icons, so they look kind of generic. You don't really know what's going on. Now, if I want to add an icon to this plugin, all I need to do is, what I like to do is I like to make the plugin look exactly how I want to. For example, I like this to be black for me, and maybe I'm going to just add a little bit of drive here to make it look a little bit more fancy. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this little icon right here. See this kind of like a camera icon? I'm going to click on this and check what happens right here. I'm going to click on this. Boom! There we go. Now we have the icon for this specific plugin. And one of the things that I would say that you can try and do is make sure you have icons for all your favorite plugins. Again, something that I see so many Cubase users not taking advantage of. The next tip is a mixing tip, and it has to do with the beloved channel EQ. Now, as you know, if you use your low band right here, you get this kind of curve. If I apply this to my Modern 80s drum kit Max, you know, this is the standard Cubase EQ behavior. But did you know that if you want to have a Pultec style EQ curve for your low end, which is something that many people use, many people buy plugins for, you can actually do this on the actual channel EQ in Cubase for every channel that you have inside your project. And here's how you do it. One way is to use your Q settings right here. So I'm going to add a little bit of low end, and then I'm going to turn up the Q and check what happens. There we go. And there's your Pultec-like curve. And this is a curve that I love using for kick drums. So I'm going to solo the kick drum on my Modern 80s kit. Let's see how it sounds. Compared to... But I have a bonus tip for you. Try out the low shelf 4 curve. Now, when you do this, you will see that your curve becomes like this. So this gives you like a nice resonance for your boosting frequency. So this is great for kick drums. It really allows you to get some thump, but at the same time, it retains this Pultec style EQ curve. See how this kick drum acquires so much thump and low end, but at the same time, it's clean and this mid-range gets kind of dipped, which is what we like to hear with Pultec EQs. So let's listen to the difference. Massively different. So before you reach out to a third-party EQ, try out the humble but amazing channel EQ in Cubase, because you can do so much more than what meets the eye. And I'm going to stick with another mixing tip, and again, this is a tip that's very well hidden, I have to admit, and many Cubase users know about this, but this is about having a very clear overview of your routing, of your signal path for every channel. So for example, right here, I have this choir channel. This is just one voice of a choir. That's maybe 8 voices. And this goes to a group, and then the group goes to the master out. Now, when I open this channel here, it's impossible to know how I've routed this channel. But if I go here and click on this icon, did you know that you can expand your routing and you can see the entire signal flow? So as you can see, here's my choir channel and it goes to the choir's bus, and then the bus goes to the stereo out. And sometimes in complicated mixes, you might have a signal flow that has several stages, so this might extend more and more. And it's very useful to have a nice overview of what's going on for all your channels, because otherwise it's very easy to get lost. The next tip that I want to show you is a great little production tool that I know that many of you are going to enjoy if you haven't used it already, and this is a MIDI plugin called Step Designer. This lives under your MIDI inserts, and when I open it, you will see that this is a very cool step sequencer that lives inside Cubase, and many people are completely oblivious to this MIDI plugin. So let me show you what you can do. I'm going to just hit play on my keyboard. I'm not going to do anything. And here's what you can create just with a Step Designer. So what you can do is you can create sequences right here. So if I want to change a note, for example, let's see. And then I can have control over the velocity, so I can add different velocity curves right here, and I can even control the gate, so I can have longer notes that move on to shorter notes like this. I can control, for example, my filter like this. And then you can have multiple patterns, so I can go to pattern number 2, 3, and so on and so forth. It's a nice step sequencer that you can use with every synth inside Cubase. In this case, I'm using it with Retrolog. If you're wondering, this is not a 303 emulation, this is Retrolog that's inside Cubase, but you can use it with any third-party plugin that doesn't have a sequencer, a built-in sequencer, and you can have a sequencer for every one of these plugins. So did you know about Step Designer? If you like it, leave a like, and if you didn't know about it, again, leave a like because it really helps, and I hope that now you're going to use it. Next, the next tip that I want to give you is a lifesaver if you want to record something in real time and you're using plugins that introduce latency to your project. These kind of plugins could be look-ahead limiters, it could be reverbs, it could be delays, it could be really intensive plugins. Imagine, I've been in this situation many times. We were almost ready to finalize a project and I got a request to record an extra part. Maybe a MIDI part with a virtual instrument, or an additional piano part, or a vocal, or something like this. When you're in the final stages and you've already added your limiters and all these things, then you will find that you have loads of latency in your project, or your recordings might not be aligned because you're listening with latency and then everything is shifted. So in order to be able to record with zero latency, no matter what you've done in your project, no matter where you are in the production phase, what you can do is you can click this magic icon right here. See this? Constraint Delay Compensation. Now, if you don't have this activated, you just right click here and you make sure you just activate it. See? Constraint Delay Compensation, make sure it's on, and then you just hit on this, and then what happens is Cubase will deactivate any plugin that introduces latency to your monitoring, to your recording, so that you can play everything in time and you don't experience like delays and annoying things, especially when you're playing like drums and stuff like this. It's kind of impossible to do this. Just to give you an example, I have Razor here, which is a look-ahead peak limiter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the Constraint Delay Compensation and check what happens. Once I do this, Razor immediately turns off because this plugin introduces latency, and Cubase makes sure that this is not in the equation. When I deactivate it, Razor is back on and ready to go. Next tip is a Cubase feature that has been in Cubase for a while now, but I see very few people using it. And this is a feature that, especially if you're doing a lot of recordings of yourself, oh my gosh, you're gonna be so happy that you're using it. I'm talking about the Rerecord function in Cubase, and this works both for audio and MIDI recordings. So let me give you an example. Let's say I want to record this piano part. This is going to be in MIDI, so I'm going to hit the star key to start recording. Count down. Oops, I made a mistake. So what you would normally do, hit stop, then you have to delete, and then you have to either, go back to where you were before with your cursor. In this case, I have it to go back to the star position, and then I'm going to have to hit the star key again to start recording. But check what you can do. If you go right here, see, you can click on this and see, instead of punch in, punch out, you can just hit re-record. And check what this does. This is so cool, so fast. I'm going to hit record now. Oops, I made a mistake. I'm going to hit record again. Boom! The mistake was erased, and the recording starts again from the top. This is like if you have a recording engineer to do this for you, like what professional studios do. They have an engineer. You make a mistake, you say, oh, sorry, let's do it again. Stops, deletes the take, starts again. You don't have to do all this. Just hit record. Oh, I messed up. How cool is that? Let me know if this is a boom moment for you and if you knew about this trick. The next tip I want to show you is about one of my favorite plugins in Cubase, and this is, of course, Supervision. I use it all the time. It's permanently glued on my second monitor right here. Here I have a really complex Supervision setup. This is one of my detailed mixing setups that I use all the time. But did you know that if you want to have a full screen view of any one of these meters, you can just double click on any one of the meters and then you have a nice big display of this meter? Let me show you. So Supervision has also some tips up its sleeve. The next one is going to be a super quick one. Let's say you have your bars display right here in your project window, but for a second you want to see where you are when it comes to your time display. As you can see right now, always in my project I have a ruler that's set in seconds. But if you don't have this, if you want to check where you are in your project very quickly, all you need to do is hit your full stop key on your keyboard and check what happens. Immediately you turn your bars into minutes and seconds. So you have a time display instead of a bar display. Hit your full stop key again and you can toggle between these two modes. The next tip might be one of the most common questions that I get when it comes to Cubase, and this is, hey Dom, I see that on your Cubase you have the freeze button on your audio channels. I don't have this. Or you have your show lanes button right there, or you have your read-write automation there. I don't have all this. Why is that? Let me show you, because this is really hidden and I know that most people know this, but I know that this causes a lot of frustration for so many Cubase users. All you need to do is you need to go right here to this cogwheel symbol and click on this. And this opens up the track control settings. So right here you will see we have all the channel types. We have audio, we have instrument, we have sampler, we have MIDI, groups, and so on and so forth. All these channel types you can customize so that you have the track controls exactly how you want them. You don't need to have more controls if you don't need them. So for example, if I go to audio right here, you will see that I have my freeze button activated. It's in my visible controls. On the other hand, my listen button that I use all the time, but I have a shortcut for this, that's why I don't have it activated, is in the hidden controls. Now, if I add this to my visible controls, there we go. We have our listen button right here. And if I want to have it a little bit higher in the hierarchy, I can just move it here, hit apply. Actually, we get a nice preview right here as well. See? So now I have my listen button first in line if you really want to do this. And let's say I want to have my freeze a little bit earlier in the actual configuration, I can move it up. And as you can see, that's how it's going to appear. There we go. And my freeze button is right there. The same goes for instrument channels. The same goes for the sampler tracks. So there we go. These were the 10 hidden tips that I wanted to show you. But if you're still here, and if you still haven't clicked away, I'm going to reward you because I'm going to give you one last tip. So let's say, for example, that you have some settings for one specific plugin. Let's say I have this Lindell de-esser right here, which I'm a big fan of, and I've created these settings, and this de-esser I want to use for multiple vocal channels. How do you copy these settings? Many people, what they do is they copy the entire plugin, but what if you've already added the plugin on all your vocal channels and you don't want to delete it and re-add it again? How do you copy the settings? There are actually two ways to do this, but they're a little bit hidden. So if you want to copy the settings from one channel to the other, but only for this specific plugin, you go here. See this functions button right here, and you can actually choose to copy the settings. Now let me open another instance, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here and then apply paste Lindell settings, and now you will see that the settings are copied between the two plugins. Another way to do this, which is also very, very easy, is you go here, you right click on the plugin and you copy Lindell settings, and then you go to another instance and paste them. And this is it. You don't have to copy the entire plugin or save the preset and reload it on the other plugin. This is how you do it super easily. So there you go, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the comments down below, let me know which one of these tips did you already know, which one of these tips did you already know and have been using them so you didn't forget about them. And be honest, let me know in the comments down below. Also, give us your tips. I would really like to see your favorite Cubase tips. Let's share with the Cubase community. I'm pretty sure that many people will find your comment down there and it's going to make their day. If you want to support the channel, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, or even use the super thanks button right here. Or you can get one of my instruments, the Modern 80s Drum Kit Max, or the Apollo expansion for Patch Shop. I would love it if you check them out and made some music with them. You can also get one of these beautiful t-shirts. I'm gonna link them down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you let me know down below so I can make more of these. And in the meanwhile, you might enjoy this video or this video. Thank you, my friends. Bye-bye.